Hello everyone, welcome back to the tutorials again. So in previous sessions, this tutorial is about design of concrete structure 2, lecture number 7. So in previous sessions, we have studied the module number 1, that is limit state of collapse. So type of torsion, behavior of rectangular section subjected to torsion we have studied. Design of sections subjected to combined bending and torsion also we have studied, and we have studied a few examples on this also. So you can see today we are going to start with module number 2. So this module number 2 is mainly deals with the design of short column, analysis and design of short column when it is subjected to axially and eccentrical loads. Okay, so when the column is subjected to axial and eccentrical loads, uh, design of short column is in the scope. So in that there are two shapes we are going to study, that is circular and rectangular. So details of reinforcement, so after design, reinforcement details also we are going to study, and construction of interaction diagram for uniaxial bending, concept of biaxial bending. So it requires hardly 4 to 5 hours to complete this particular module. So after this we are going to move to the pre-stressed concrete part. So module number 3 we are going to move. So before that, let us study about module number 2, that is design of column. So generally speaking, column, there are various types of structural members. So those are nothing but flexural or tension members and compression members. Mainly there are two types, tension and compression members. So whatever the beams which we are seeing, those are tension members. So you can see if we apply the load on the beam, so if we apply, let us think that uh, this is a horizontal beam. So when we apply the load, this beam is going to bend like this, means increase in the length is going to occur, and increase in the length means it is subjected to tension. But beams are supported on the column. So you can see, let us think that here there is one column and here there is another. So this beam is will try to push down these two columns, so they are subjected to compression. So columns are mainly compression members. So you can see uh, this is a notes, so in which I am covering introduction to column, objectives, definitions. There are various definition terminologies we need to study. So classification of columns, longitudinal reinforcement design, transverse reinforcement design, clauses I am going to cover. After that we are going to cover the problems. So assignment also is present in this particular notes. So you can see, remember, before moving to the module exactly, you must have IS 456 with you to study this particular module. In previous lectures also I have said that you must be having IS 456 so that I can explain the clauses and you can go through the code easily at your end. Okay, so just you can see, compression members are structural elements primarily subjected to axial compression forces. That's what I have told. Columns are compression members, so they are subjected to axial compression forces, and hence their design is guided by considerations of strength and buckling. So what is the buckling? Buckling is, I am going to show you about the buckling. So whenever, just I will open the code to refer the diagrams. So you can see, whenever this, let us think that this vertical element is a column, and this are the supports. So these are beams which are connecting through the slabs, and these are the supports. So whenever we apply vertical load in this direction, you can see whenever we apply the load in this particular direction, column will try to bend. Column will try to bend, and that is called as buckling. So you can see they are primarily subjected to compressive strength and buckling. Example of compression member is pedestal, column, wall and struts. So these are examples for compression members. So objective of this particular notes is design of rectangular and circular columns as per codal provisions. Okay, so please have IS 456 with you. So now there are various definitions which we need to study in this particular module. So first definition is effective length. the vertical distance between the 2 points of inflection of compression members in a buckled configuration in a plane is termed as effective length, that is LE. Okay, so I'm going to explain it with the diagram. The effective length is very much different from unsupported length L. So what is effective length? You can see over here. Just I will take the example of this particular diagram. So if unsupported length means the length from this particular end to this particular end. So whatever the clear length between two supports is there, that is called as unsupported length. But what is effective length? Effective length is a, you can see effective length is a vertical distance between points of inflation of compression member. So what are points of inflation? You can see over here. So here you can see at this particular point, you can see over here buckled position of this particular member, which was shown in a dotted line, is not connecting at the ends, but it is connecting somewhere before the ends. So you can see there is small difference between the ends and this connecting position. So these are called as point of inflection. So these points of inflections, distance between these 2 points of inflection. So you can see the cursor from here to here. So this distance, so top portion of the cursor, you can see it is in a I shape. So top portion you can see from here to here is called as effective length. So effective length is given in table number 28 IS 456. So this is IS 456 2000. So in table number 28 annexure E, table number 28, you are going to find out you are going to get the effective length for different type of supports. Okay, so this is the effective length. So if calculation of effective length will be depending upon the unsupported length. So calculation of effective length will be depending upon the unsupported length. So what is the formula which is going to connect it? Effective length is equal to K into unsupported length. So effective length is denoted by LE and unsupported length is denoted by L. Okay, so where K is a ratio of effective to unsupported length. So those ratios only they have given over here. So LE is equal to 0.5 L. In this case, recommended value 0.65 L. So they have given over there. So it is given in clause number 25.2 IS 456. So about this effective length, if you want to study, it is given in IS 456 clause number 25. So you can see over here. So just I will open that clause so that you will be able to understand it very easily. So page number 40 you can open directly. Sorry, 41. So you can see compression members, definition of compression member they have given. So what is the clause? They said for unsupported length clause is 25.1.3 and for effective length clause is 25.2. So you can see 25.2 IS 456 stipulates about the effective length of compression members. So it has been widely explained in annexure E, which I have opened, that is table number 28. Now few another definitions is pedestal is a vertical compression member. Pedestal also is a vertical compression member whose effective length does not exceed 3 times of its least horizontal dimension. So what are horizontal dimensions of the column? Width of the column and depth of the column. So B and D are horizontal dimensions. So least horizontal dimension of that column we have to consider, and if effective length of that particular column will not exceed 3 times the least horizontal dimension which was given in clause number 26.5.3, that is called as pedestal. Okay. Now column is a vertical compression member whose unsupported length L shall not exceed 6 times of B, means least lateral dimension, 6 times of B, if restraints at two ends. Further, its unsupported length of cantilever column shall not exceed 100 b by d, where d is a larger lateral dimension which is also restricted up to 4 times of b, so which is given in clause number 25.3. so you can see over here, so 25.3, if you see, you can see about the scenario, while saying about the slenderness ratio, they have said about the column also. So column is a vertical compression member whose unsupported length L shall not exceed 6 times B. So if unsupported length shall not exceed 6 times B, it is called as column. So definition of wall you can go through. So classification of column. So classification of column based on small correction is there over here. While typing, some alignment mistake has happened. So you can see classification of columns based on the types of reinforcement. So column can be classified based on various systems. So based on the types of reinforcement, column is classified as tied column. So it is tied column means horizontal ties are going to tie the longitudinal reinforcement. So you can see these shown bars, long bars are longitudinal bars and these bars are ties. So if you want to see it in the section, so these small round shapes are shown as a longitudinal bars and this is the tie which is shown. Okay. Similarly, column with helical reinforcement. So column with helical reinforcement is another type in which the column is tied by the helical shaped ties. So you can see these are the longitudinal reinforcements. So small dots which were shown are longitudinal reinforcement. So these are tied with uh, helical shaped reinforcements. Okay. So again, third type based on the column, concrete columns. Third type is based on composite columns. So composite columns are made up of concrete columns, concrete as well as steel. So steel pipe is embedded in the concrete. So these are called as composite columns. Okay. Next, this is the explanation which is given. Tied column, the main longitudinal reinforcement bars are enclosed closely with spaced lateral ties. So columns with helical reinforcement, main longitudinal reinforcement. So what are these longitudinal reinforcement? Those are vertical reinforcement. It is shown over here, dark line. These are longitudinal reinforcement. Okay, y-axis reinforcement I can call. Composite columns, the main longitudinal reinforcement of composite column consists of structural steel sections or pipes. So you can see structural steel or pipes are embedded in the concrete. So those are called as composite columns. So this is based on the, you can see this is based on the type of reinforcement. Now next type of columns is based on the type of loading. So based on the type of loading, we can say that column subjected to axial loads only, column subjected to combined axial loads and uniaxial bending, and third one, column subjected to combined axial loads and biaxial bending. So you can see figure number 1 shows the column subjected to axial load. So directly when the centroid of the column is coincides with centroid of the load applied, we can call that particular column as a column subjected to axial loading. Okay, similarly you can see column subjected to combination of axial loading plus uniaxial bending. So what it means, you can see in this figure, the load is acting at the distance ex from y-axis, so you can see the center is here, the load is acting somewhere here. So only in x direction there is a length, y direction length is 0, that is called as uniaxial. Third one is biaxial bending. So biaxial bending means if the load is acting somewhere here, there is a length in x-axis also and there is a length in y-axis also to the centroid. So there is some distance between the centroid and the load in x-axis also and in y-axis also. In x-axis also and in y-axis also there is some load, there is some distance. So it is called as uniaxial bending. So I will show you the figure for that. You can see. Okay, you can see these figures, you will be able to understand it very easily. So axially loaded column, when the column load centroid will coincides with column centroid, so it is called as only axially loaded column. So next one is axially loaded column with uniaxial bending, so or else eccentrically loaded column. You can see there is the distance in x-axis, so the load is acting over here, and you can see there is a ex distance between load and the eccentric centroid of the column. So again you can see here there are two distances, that is ex in x direction and ey in y direction. So the load is acting over here and the centroid of column is here. So there is distance in x-axis also and there is distance in y-axis also. So it is called as uniaxial loading, and this is called as biaxial loading. So due to that, uniaxial bending is going to occur and biaxial bending is also going to occur. So based on the slenderness ratio, this is based on the loading. So based on the slenderness ratio, there are two types, that is short column and slender or long column is there. So slenderness ratio for steel column is ratio of effective length to its least radius of gyration, that is R, in case of this is in case of steel column. But in case of concrete column, so you can see in case of concrete column, as per IS 456 stipulates slenderness ratio as ratio of effective length to its least lateral dimension. In case of steel column it is different, in case of concrete column as per IS 456 it is different. So slenderness ratio, depending upon the slenderness ratio, we can classify the column as short column and long column. So short column and long column is classified based on the slenderness ratio, that is ratio of effective length divided by least lateral dimension. So you can see a compression member may be considered as short when both the slenderness ratio, that is Lex divided by D and Ley divided B are less than 12. So slenderness ratio in both the direction is less than 12, then it is called as short. So note this particular point. It is called as short, where Lex is effective length in respect to major axis, D is a depth in respect to major axis, Ley is a effective length in respect to minor axis, B is a width of the member. It shall be otherwise to be considered as slender compression member if this Lex divided by D and Ley, any one of this is greater than 12, it is considered as slender or long compression member, we can call. Okay, so whatever I have explained here, it is given in clause number 25.3.1. so I will open IS 456 25. So it is given in 25.3.1. so you can see, you can go through this particular clause. So it is given over here, unsupported length between two restraints should not exceed this much value and other things. So you can just go through clause number 25. It is going to give us all the details about the slenderness, all the details about the design of column. Okay, so maximum unsupported length between two restraints was is given in 25.3.1. so it is 6 times the least lateral dimension. That's what I have opened now. So it is 60 times, not 6 times, 60 times the least lateral dimensions of the column. So you can go through this. So again, this is about the types of column. So in this types of column, short column is there in our scope. In your syllabus you can see they specifically mentioned about the short columns, and axially and eccentrically with for axial and eccentric loads. So we are going to consider axial and eccentric loads, for design of short column. So you can see this is axial loaded member and these are eccentrically loaded members. So in case of short column we are going to consider those both. So specifically in the next session we are going to study about the short column and design of short column we are going to study. Okay, so what are the design criteria, what are the criteria for longitudinal reinforcement, what are the criteria for ties, what are the IS code specifications for that, what are the formulas which are given in IS code, we are going to study in the next session. So make sure that you are having IS code with you. Thank you.